Hello and welcome to the second Clubs Forum for this year, and I hope you're all well and raring to go with today's topic. So today we have Shayne Mostyn, who is a photographer and content creator who's gained a large following on his YouTube channel, which is dedicated to teaching people how to use their smartphones for photography. He's been working in the photography industry for over 10 years and has honed his skills through both traditional photography and smartphone technology. He has a deep knowledge of photography and his passion for teaching other people. Shayne has become the go-to resource for anyone looking to improve their smartphone photography skills. Through his YouTube channel, Shayne has built a community of photography enthusiasts who come to him for advice on everything from composition and lighting to editing and post-processing. His videos are informative and they are engaging, and he always takes time to answer questions from his audience. Shayne is approachable, and his ability to break down complex photography concepts into simple, easy to understand steps has made him one of the most popular photography educators on YouTube. I now introduce you to Shayne. Over to you, Shayne.
Thanks, Susan. I'm going to have to get you to write everything that whenever somebody introduces me. That was great. Thank you. So I'm Shayne, guys. I was asked probably a couple of months, maybe 3 months ago, to come on here, and I didn't actually know how you guys found me, but we've had the backstory here. There was a Facebook group for phone photography. That's Natika. Did I say that right? Natika? Yep. Contacted me and said, "Hey, you want to come and have a look at this and present this?" So here we are. It's not the group, it's not the way that most people find me, so it was kind of cool. I'll just share my screen. I've got a few slides here just to explain a few things and show you some photos. It's kind of well, it would be pointless me explaining things about photography if you couldn't actually see it. So that's where you'll find me on the internet. On Instagram, just a Shayne Mostyn. The YouTube channel is Shayne Mostyn Mobile Photography, and that bloody legends that's down there. There's a Facebook group just for the subscribers of that channel. There's probably 2,000 or 3,000 people in there, and they're all. If you're on a social media group about photography, it can become pretty angry sort of a group, and that's not what our group's about. It's a very friendly group, very constructive group. So that's where you'll find me. If you want to join that group, head on over there. I think there's 3 questions you've got to answer to go in there. I've got guys from the UK and Canada and America, and one guy in Newcastle who administered that for me. So just answer the questions and they'll let you on in. This is what I do. My background is as a photographer. So before doing all that, I was in the Army, in the Australian Army, down up there in Sydney. When I left the Army, I went to work for Xerox and Canon and IBM for a period of time. When I moved down here to Victoria, I'm in a place called Kahuna, which is north central Victoria. It's up near the Murray River. That's when I started doing photography professionally. I was always a hobbyist, if you like, and I moved down here, started doing weddings, family portraits, commercial work, that sort of thing. And I had, when I first moved down here and went outside at night and just saw how many stars, how little light pollution that we have here, I was hooked. And I started doing astrophotography with DSLR and mirrorless cameras, and I would sell those prints. So I would go out, take these photos and sell those prints online. And that was quite profitable. It worked pretty well. And as things progressed when I was down here, I had a friend in Melbourne who's an instructor and a photography instructor. And what I was doing in the Army was teaching people to drive tanks. So I have an instructional background. And we started teaching photography, and I would bring people up from Melbourne up to our country town and take them out at night and take photos like this. And I also am a farmer. We have a dairy goat farm where we are here. So we're pretty much in the middle of nowhere. That photo that you're looking at there with that Bedford truck, that was taken with a phone. And that's what I'm known for. At the beginning of 2020, when COVID first hit us, everything that I do, if you look back at that list that I just showed you, there's nothing that I can do there that we're able to do anymore besides farm. So I couldn't teach photography anymore. At the time, I was teaching in a co-share business place in town, and all the local businesses would come in, and I would teach them how to take photos of their product that they were selling with their phone, so they could put it on Facebook and put it on their website and things like that. And then when COVID started, that became more important. And I thought, how am I going to help these people do what they were doing? So I started a YouTube channel. Oh, wrong way. The YouTube channel, to put some numbers in front of you here, I won't talk about YouTube too much. I'll run through this quickly, and then by all means, throw questions at me. I normally get a lot of questions at the end of what I tell people. With YouTube, first question that people ask me is, how do you make money on YouTube? When you watch a YouTube video, and I'm just going to assume that everybody watching me right now has watched a YouTube video at some point, there'll be an ad that runs, and I get a clip of that ticket. As the creator of that video, I get a percentage, and it's about 70% of the revenue from that, the person that, or the company that's advertising. Everyone gets different ads, depends on what you look at on the internet. But say Adobe spends $1,000 worth of advertising, and 100% of that was on my videos, I'd get about $700 of that. So to throw some other numbers at you, 1 in 700 YouTube, there's 52 million YouTube channels, by the way. There's a lot of them. 1 in 700 of those will get to 1,000 subscribers. And then when you go a bit above that, out of those 1 in 700, 1 in 1,000 of those will get to 10,000 subscribers. Right now, I think I'm sitting at around, I haven't looked today, but it's just shy of 70,000. And that's in like 2.5 years. So it's crazy fast. And there's a few reasons behind that, and I can talk to you about that after if you like, but that's just a quick screenshot of the sort of things that I do. If you have a look at those things that are on the screen there, it's all about phones. It's all about phones. And if you look even deeper, you'll see most of it is at nighttime. So YouTube is about niching. So if you're a plumber, for example, and you wanted to start a YouTube channel, I wouldn't start it just on plumbing. If you were really good at, say, unblocking toilets as a plumber, I would start a YouTube channel just about unblocking toilets, only that. And you become the master at doing the unblocking of toilets. When it comes to doing astrophotography with your phone, I'm it. If you go, and other people have done it here and there, but that's pretty much all I do. There's probably 3 genres of photography that I do on the channel with phones, but primarily it's long exposure and astrophotography, and I own that niche. Let's talk about what phones can actually do. Every photo that I show you here in this slide, if you like, is a photo that I've personally taken, or it's someone from that Bloody Legends Facebook group. This is one of the ones from that Facebook group. This is macro photography. Macro photography is basically making things that are really small appear really large, getting nice and close. It's usually flowers, ants, coins, that sort of thing. And if you own a phone that is, say, less than 4 years old, it will do it automatically without putting any other lenses on there. It will do it just like that. All you got to do is hold it close enough to the subject, and it will automatically change to macro photography. So that's an iPhone 14 Pro Max. The iPhone 14 Pro does it, 13 Pro does it. I believe the 12 does it as well. And all the newer Samsungs that are recent will do it as well. And it does it automatically. If you don't have that, then you can get the add-on lenses that you can screw into the phone and let you do that sort of thing. So macro photography, I think, is a nice genre of photography. For me personally, I find it's good to get out of a rut. If I'm in a creative rut, because I take photos of the night sky or landscapes, when I'm struggling a little bit, I'll go back to macro just because it's so different and you get your creative juices flowing again. The next one will be travel photography. And travel photography, I say this is so popular with phones because almost everyone carries this thing with them. Almost everyone carries it with them almost everywhere that they go. And when you can see the sort of quality that's coming out of phones these days, why wouldn't you just take your phone on a holiday? I do. And I've got plenty of other cameras, but if I'm going specifically for a holiday, I'll only take that. Long exposure photography. This one here is Star Trails. This is at a place called Mount Hope. That big rock that's there is what do we call it? Suicide Rock. There's a bit of an old wives' tale about some bloke who rode a horse off there years and years ago. As my wife has horses, and if you can get a horse to jump off a cliff, kudos to you. But that is a Star Trail photo from a phone. That's from this phone, an iPhone 14 Pro Max. That's a 2-hour-long photo on a phone. And that's just mind-blowing that you can do that. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. And the one that I'm really known for is this sort of photo. When you look through my Instagram, you'll see this sort of photo all the time. This is what I'm known for. This is almost unedited. The editing that I do on photos is minimal. You get this straight out of the phone. And if you've got a phone that's, like I say, less than, say, 4 years old, you can do this right now yourselves. As far as pros and cons go of phone photography, the pros is that it's always with you. The amount of times that I've taken photos, now I've had exhibitions and stuff in my hometown where people come in and buy prints, and they buy the prints coming from this camera as quickly as they buy prints from this camera. They're just not as big. We'll talk about that in a second too. But it's always with you. So it's always there to capture that moment or that image as you see it right there and then. The computing power in this phone is just amazing. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Cray computers. They're just the Cray supercomputers. They were in the 80s. They were like the ducks nuts of supercomputers. And to get the equivalent processing power from this right now into the same technology that was in one of those computers, it would weigh about 70 odd ton. That's how far we've come with technology now. The processing power in this is probably better than most of the computers that we're looking at now, maybe, as in what's in front of you guys right now. And the last thing is that this is easy. Taking photos of this is just dead set easy. With the processing power that's with this, and this is the main difference, I think, between this and this, is the apps that are available on this. The photography, the style of photography and the way that you think about photography is different with this compared to a DSLR or mirrorless camera. The biggest downsides of mobile photography is printing. The sensor size, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with sensors, but the way that photography works is just light and capturing light. That's it. There's nothing else to it. Not really. The sensor that's in here is small. It's teeny tiny. The sensor that's in this is the equivalent of a 35mm film. So if you picture a bucket of water, a bucket out in the rain, a small bucket is going to capture small amounts of water. A large bucket is going to capture a lot more water. So if you think about the water as light, especially in the dark, outside and looking at the stars, that big sensor is going to capture more water, more light, whereas that small sensor isn't going to capture as much. The resulting image, in theory, should be that this shouldn't be able to do what I do. The reason that it can do what I do is that computing power. So when I take a photo of the stars with this, it's 100% manual. So I need to go into the settings on the camera, the focusing on the camera, focus on stars, set an exposure setting for, there's all different rules with this sort of photography. One's the rule of 500. So if the focal length divided by 500 is going to, or 500 divided by the focal length is going to give you the maximum shutter time that you should use. And you've got ISO to deal with, and you've got aperture to deal with. There's lots of things to deal with this style of photography, with this sort of a camera. With this, I put it on a tripod and push a button and wait 30 seconds and it's done. The resulting image is, even though I went for this is an iPhone, even though I went for 30 seconds, it took 3 photos. This particular phone takes 3 photos of 10 seconds each, and it focus stacks them so that something in the foreground's in focus, middle ground's in focus, and the far ground's in focus, and it pushes them all together. It's absolutely incredible. And you don't need to do any of that yourself. The camera, the phone will do it all for you. The last con is that last one. And that last one is kind of a toxic thing in photography groups on social media, is that people with these real cameras don't think that this is real and what you can achieve with this is real. But I'm telling you now, for someone who goes and shoots weddings and carries a lot of gear, I would much prefer to shoot a wedding with this than with this and 15 lenses. The weight is just incredible. That it's versatile. The difference for me in that arena, in the wedding photography stuff, is that people expect to have this shoved in their face to take a photo. And this doesn't look like you should be paying me as much as you're paying me. What you need for astrophotography, that photo that's right there on the screen right now with that tree, I took that this morning at about 3 o'clock with this phone, with the iPhone. What you need for this photo is dark skies. This is important for all methods of astrophotography, but for phone photography, it's even more important because that sensor is so small. The more light that's out there polluting the area comes into the phone and ruins the stars. So the darker the night sky, the better for phone photography, regardless of the type of phone. Samsung, Pixel, Huawei's, Oppo's, iPhones, doesn't matter. As long as the sky is dark, you'll get away with it. And I live in an area, that's where I live in my house here. It's about a Bortle 2. Bortle is the amount of ambient light. It's how dark the sky is. So Bortle 2 is very low. I can travel about 10 minutes away and get a Bortle 1, which is no light pollution at all. It's a very dark sky. In my photography group on Facebook, there are people there from all over the world. And every single time that they struggle to do what I do, because they put questions on there, how come I can't do this? The answer is, what's the light pollution like? Go to lightpollutionmap.info, type in your location, and it will give you what the Bortle number is there. And if you're at a Bortle 4 or below, you can do what I do. When you're above a 4, well, you've got to go back to star trails because you're not going to capture those pin sharps. You're going to have to capture those star trails. The second thing you're going to need is a tripod. Tripod is a must. You're taking 30-second long photos on this. On some phones, you can go for as long as 10 minutes, and you can't. It's just impossible to keep the phone still for that long. You need a tripod. With the tripod comes a phone holder. That's just something that clamps like this, and it just clamps onto the phone, and it holds it on the tripod for you. And a torch. Torch you don't have to use, but for that photo there, the light on the tree and on the trunk and on the ground, that was all just done with a flashlight. And the last thing is knowledge. The knowledge of how to do it. Once you understand, it sounds complicated and it can feel daunting when you first do it, and if it doesn't work for you the first time. But once you do this the first time, you'll never not be able to do it. It is probably the easiest genre of photography that exists. There's a little bit of creativity in it and knowledge. Once you understand the knowledge part of it, as in how to set your phone up, how to find that galactic core, that orange gassy cloud that's in the sky there. Once you know how to find that in the night sky, you're home and hosed. It's absolutely dead set simple. I'll throw to you guys and ask you for some questions.
Yeah. Thanks. That's been great, Shayne. I love it. I'm lucky. I can't read on that light pollution map what number I am. I put that. Is there any way that you can?
Yep. So when you let me just when you just click on the screen where you are.
There we go.
Okay. So right there, where that yellow and green is, that's going to be pretty bright. But if you just click on the screen, anywhere on the screen there, just click once. It should be popping up with a little, maybe right click.
Oh,
there you go. So that's a class 3, the Bortle class 3. You'll be able to do what I'm doing reasonably well there. The higher the number, the worse it goes. If you go up in the top left-hand corner of your screen there, into that hilly area there, on the map there, that to me looks like it's going to be a 1 or a 2. That's a 1. You'll definitely be able to get good photos up in there.
Yeah, excellent.
Absolutely.
Very good. I have to make myself get out and do that. We've actually got blue skies today, so that's good.
That's good.
Anyone else have any questions for Shayne?
About anything, photography or YouTube, I'm happy to answer either.
This will be great for our photography competition, Susan, won't it?
Yes. Shayne, ASCCA runs a photography competition later on in the year, and people get topics and they can choose how many photographs they want to submit within those topics. I haven't got astrophotography though.
It doesn't matter. So what sort of topics do you have?
There's always the companion animals. She said, and have to look.
Yeah, I'm just going to open the website for you to have a look too.
Just looking for it.
So it'll be under competition.
I've got it in front of me if you want to know.
Yes, thank you.
Diane, yep. I'm from Newcastle Computer Pals. Categories of people, companion animals, nature, the seasons and the weather, shadows, in transit, simplicity and close up.
Well, simplicity might do for the astrophotography. What we're looking for is creativity, and the whole point of doing any of the competitions in the year is to broaden people's skills, to get them to do something else, and also for their teachers within their clubs to have a goal towards which they work through the year. And the photography competition is later on in the year, so it gives them quite a long time to work out what fits into what category.
Sure. That galactic core, that orange gaseous cloud that you see in the photos, that has a season. So right now in the southern hemisphere, it's starting to get above the horizon at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to move through the sky at different times of the year, and it's going to be finished by late October, early November. So you've got that window to take these sorts of photos. Now, the way that I there's a bit of planning around it. So the tools that are there that I told you about, the knowledge. Someone's asked me a question here about the tool that I use here. I use a tool called PhotoPills. PhotoPills is an app. It's available on Android and on iPhone. And what it does is it uses the camera on the phone, the GPS, and augmented reality. So it superimposes its software into what the camera sees. I actually, in the video I did this morning, I did record. I'll just show you. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
Yep. Oh. So that tree that's in that photo, in that video, that's a screen recording on my phone, is that tree that's in that photo that I said I shot this morning. So I use PhotoPills for that. Somebody asked about PhotoPills. They typed me a question. So I will use the light pollution map. I will use, I've done a video about planning for this sort of video, for this sort of photo. I use the light pollution map. I use Google Maps, and the Google Maps I use to see where the main roads are, to so you know what traffic is going to come through. And PhotoPills is for the composition. So I know as you use the PhotoPills app, you can fast forward time over that subject. So you'll see that galactic core moving through the sky. So you can compose it, then it'll give you a time. So for example, I might see a really cool old tractor on the side of the road somewhere, and I think that would be a nice photo for Astro. And I'll go over there with PhotoPills and just move the time slider.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. On this channel, we do all sorts of.
Sorry, my bad.
That was me.
No, that's my bad. Sorry. I was going to put the link of your channel in the chat for everyone.
Thinking that sounded like me.
Yeah.
And it was me. And I'll fast forward time with that app to see what day and time I need to come back there to take the photo I want to take. Other than that, that's it. I don't use any other tools. Oh, you put that in the chat. I thought that was someone else asking me.
No,
No,
that was
that's all that I use. Yeah. But you were saying before about people. There was one of the main questions I get asked on when I take photos of a foreground subject and the sky. People ask about how to take photos of people in this situation. Because it's a 30-second long photo, people will move in that 30 seconds. So it's quite difficult to do. But this morning I nailed it. I was out there trying to shoot a video. There you go. So there's your people photo for your competition. Just make sure you subscribe to my channel, because that video will come out next week, I'd say, of how to do that. It's pretty cool. I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Well done. Did you get a cramp standing like that for that long?
No, I just went, that was it. Then I just stood there like this until the 30 seconds was up. That was it. So the trick with that is using a flash, like so you got a regular DSLR, I think you said.
Yes.
And your speed light that's on that, or you may have a speed light that you can put on the top on the hot shoe. So I'm just remotely firing a speed light off to the side there for that amount of time. Doesn't matter if you move a little bit, then it's okay. So that worked really well. I was happy to have that working.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions?
That was certainly a very creative way to take a picture of a person. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I like it.
The amount of times that I go, how could I do something, and just try and work out a way.
Yeah, we've given all these people here a bit of a heads up how to do the people photography now, so they should be well ahead of everybody else.
Really, with your phones, if your phone has more than one little lens on the back, like this, if it's got two, chances are you've got the portrait mode on your phone, and when you take a photo in portrait mode, this is just like for your people photos. Once you're in there and you've taken that photo, go into the editing that's in that photo. So when you open up your photos gallery then, and I'll just find one here. The camera here is quite good for showing this style.
You can actually share your iPhone through Zoom. If you go to screen share, it's an option. You might just need to quickly download the plugin, and then you can share it wirelessly.
No, just connect your phone through your cable to the back of your iMac. And
this is the trouble when you're with a whole bunch of digital mentors. We all like to help.
Or you could get a Sony ZV-1 and it does macro for you. See? Look at that focus shifting. Hey, look at that focus shifting. But when you're looking at the photo like this, and you've got your edit button up the top here, then up the top here, you've got that F. See there?
Yeah.
If I adjust that, you can now adjust the amount of blur that's in there. All the phones are absolutely horrible with portrait photography if the subject isn't a solid sort of shape. So if it's someone with a lot of hair going on and sticking out and stuff, it's not going to do it very well. So I would bring, and by default, it goes to like F2 or F1 point something. It's really, really shallow, and the computational photography in there doesn't differentiate it very well. So if you bring that back to say F5 or F8, it's going to be so much better for your people photography.
Good to know. Thank you.
No worries.
So later on this year, I'm going to Japan on holiday, and I'm thinking I will take the iPhone 14, but I'm thinking also I might take the iPad. Now, I've seen people going around taking photos with their iPad. What would you suggest is the best device to use? Am I back with the iPhone?
100%.
Yeah.
There's reasons for this. One is that the camera is better in this than the iPad. I use an iPad, but I use it for editing and I use it for browsing when I go away.
I thought, I might do that.
The main difference though is that this here, I do everything with this with one hand. I hold my phone like this, and my thumb is the shutter button. Yeah. With an iPad, you have to use two hands. So automatically you're going to be doing this. Your hands are going to fight against each other. It's always going to be better photo on the phone than with an iPad. And as a wedding photographer, there's nothing worse than seeing this in the air at a ceremony of people with iPads in the air
Yeah.
taking photos. It's horrible. 100%, your phone is the way to do it.
Yes.
The amount of apps, if you're, so where are you going to Tokyo?
Yes.
Yep.
And Osaka and various other places.
Lovely. If you got a little bit creative with this, and if you got it yourself a little travel tripod.
I've got one. Yes.
Yep. I would get ones with the bendy legs.
Yes, that's the one.
So
I've
you
got.
can wrap it around poles and stuff.
Yes.
And get yourself an app like Even Longer or Reflex, and they're going to let you do long exposure photos. So I'm a bit of a Japan fan of myself, and when I go there, that's exactly what I do. You get to somewhere like Shinjuku, and busy place. All that movement will be blurred in a long exposure photo, but all the things that are stationary will be perfectly in focus. You'll be amazed at the photos that you'll get in a place like Tokyo, especially at night, with a long exposure app like Reflex or Even Longer. I do lots of tutorials on both of those, mainly for stars, but they do incredibly well for light trail photography, lightning, cars moving, lots of people moving, that sort of thing. It does really, really well.
So that's
end of the year,
available
that'll
on
be cold.
Yeah. So that's available on the Apple
Yep.
App Store.
Yep.
Thank you.
So the Even Longer app, I'm almost certain now it's a subscription, but they do sponsor me. But this isn't me telling you to go and get it because they sponsor me. It's a very good app. All the photos that you saw before with the star trails, that's the best app for doing that. It also has like an automatic opener, if you like, so you don't need to tweak it too much. Both of these apps, you need to manually adjust things. I've got lots of tutorials on both of them, but the results that you'll get are sensational.
And what about for those people who in here, just a quick show of hands, is on Android rather than Apple? Are there any
Android? How many Android people?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Android. I have a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra.
Nice. Did I put any of those in there? I didn't put any Android photos in that slideshow at all. They're all iPhones. But I do a lot
with their photography, aren't they? Well,
sorry, you broke up then.
Samsung is pretty impressive with their photo capture.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've actually just finished, was it last week I posted it? It's an Android versus iPhone video, and it's just the cameras. And I've got everything Apple here. But in saying that, I'm not going to say you should buy an Apple product just because I've got one. I think you should buy whatever's good for you. I think for astrophotography, if it was just a Samsung S22 Ultra, S21 Ultra, S23 Ultra, they're all better for astrophotography than any iPhone, period. When it comes to video, you've got nothing on an iPhone. The iPhone is just far superior, except for the latest one. The latest Samsung is quite good. But all the things I'm telling you here, you can do it on the Samsung phone, except for the long exposure photography. They don't do it. There's not a very good app yet for the Samsung to do it as nearly as well as the iPhone. It just doesn't exist. You've got really good manual controls on the Samsung phones when you go into that pro mode. Really, really good. They both have their pluses. They both have their minuses. I don't think you can really go wrong these days when you buy a phone in the last 4 years. No one makes a bad phone now, really.
Okay, thank you.
Shayne, can you tell me, have you shot those star trails or the astro photography using RAW on the 14 Pro Max?
Yeah, that one that I showed you before, actually all of them, I would say almost everything there is shot with Apple Pro RAW. It does
what sort
really
of
well.
maximum print size are you getting in those then with the, because
It doesn't
48, aren't they? 48 megapixels.
Yeah. So this is another thing with phones. This is why I like to have the questions, because we can go down rabbit holes. This is a 48 megapixel camera, except when it's dark. When it's dark, it reverts back to a 12 megapixel camera. It does what's called pixel binning. So one pixel 4 pixels will become 1. So that little small bucket catching water becomes 4 little buckets catching water. So it lets in more light. That's how it can do it. And the Samsung does the same thing. The newest Samsung has a 200 megapixel sensor. That's crazy on a phone. And you can print really large with that. I had a poster up behind me on some of my videos, my older videos. That's from a 200 megapixel photo from a phone. And there's no detail lost, except at nighttime. It doesn't do it at nighttime. Every phone does the pixel binning. It's very clever the way it does it, but you still can't print it very large. So the largest that I will print with an iPhone will be about an A3 size. I've got an A3 there and some others over here. You can't see them, I don't think. Nope. But I was just looking at my monitor there. I can't see what I'm looking like. Someone could be standing right here and I couldn't tell you. My little screen's behind the other monitor. But A3 is the largest I would print with an iPhone. Then you'll start losing quality. If it's a daytime photo, shooting at 48 megapixel, you could probably go to A2 size, I would say, close to that. Yeah. But nighttime, no.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for all your insights. That's really
No
got
worries.
the photographers up and running, I would think. Yeah, good.
Cool.
So if there's no more questions, we might move on to the Be Connected update from Natika, please.
Cool. Thanks. Thank you very much, Susan. Yeah, I've been a little bit quiet. We're waiting for Natalie to get back from long service leave to find out our next lot of spots. So my next job this week is to figure out where we're going in the West. Sorry, folks, I don't think there are any West Aussies in here other than you and me today, Jen. So, but we're looking at places like Port Hedland, maybe Broome. There's a little problem with a bridge though for me to get there at the moment. So I'll probably be flying rather than driving unless we wait for dry season. And then also looking at Katanning and Albany, and again, another one in Perth. So for anyone who is wanting to apply for the next lot of Be Connected, building digital skills, there's a grant round that closes today, but I dare say, I can't see it on their website, but I'm pretty sure there'll be another one open as of Monday morning. So if anyone wants a hand with that, please email me and I'm happy to have a chat with you about ideas, etc., to get the Be Connected stuff into your groups and clubs and get some funding there to sort of build up your numbers now that everyone's getting a little less frightened to walk out of their houses again. So yeah, that's it.
Does anyone have a question that they want to ask of Natika? Yeah, Sandra.
Natika, are you doing more mentor sessions?
Yeah, we'll be doing some more digital mentor training. We will schedule a Zoom session for it, but not until we've been to all of our locations here, because we're halfway there, and we'll do a Zoom one to patch up our numbers. So if we need to. So
We have a local group called The Place at Charlestown that's doing that, but we would prefer to go with ASCCA.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And we're trying to have a succession plan and build up our numbers of mentors.
Yeah.
Just have to convince them.
Very good idea. Yes. That's about it from Be Connected. I was wondering, Shayne, do you want to put your socials and so forth in the chat panel so that everyone can find you easily? If anyone wants to, the YouTube link's in there, but I meant to grab your Insta and everything and I didn't. So yeah.
This is the Facebook group that I mentioned.
Yep.
Instagram.
Who's on Insta? Anyone?
Does anyone use Instagram?
Yeah, I do, but ASCCA doesn't. Jen does, yeah. Does anyone not know what Instagram is? Is that
good point?
Yeah. Talking.
Instagram, I find, is not really a. It used to be all about photography, but it's not really about photography now. It's a lot more about video now. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another app now that a lot of the photographers are using. It's called Vero, Vero, and it's what Instagram used to be.
Yes, I have heard of that one. I haven't. I just don't have any more headspace for any more social media channels at this point.
I hear. Absolutely.
It's a bit full on. So yes. And does anyone else have anything else that they want to bounce off, be connected, or anything photography wise, or anything else? Because we're on track. We're on time this time, Susan. Well
Yes.
done.
So now it's really the time that the clubs can network with each other. So if you've come up with something recently that was a great success, we want to know about it. And conversely, if you tried something that didn't work, we also would like to hear about it. Or just how you are running generally. Are you losing members? Are you increasing in numbers? How's it going at your place? Michael, can you start off this conversation, please?
Yeah, no, we've, Helen can probably tell you as much as I can. We're gradually losing members, not renewing, in the single digit percentages, and trying to get volunteers to take on roles is incredibly difficult. Yeah, so I think the problem, it really is that we can't seem to attract any young members anymore. Back in the 80s when I first joined, yeah, most of our members were, you know, well under 40, even down into the 20s, and very keen on doing things with their computers, pulling them apart and all that sort of stuff. But that seems to be a thing of the past now, and yeah, people are just into various social groups and social media
And
stuff.
watching a YouTube to learn all the things that the clubs used to teach.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But the young people think that they know everything, when in fact that's not quite the case, is it? We know that when we get new people coming along to the clubs, they actually don't know a great deal of stuff, and they don't know until we tell them.
Yes, yeah, too
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Alan, would you like to make a comment?
I haven't got much to add to Mike, except to say that our group is, to me, our group is effectively dying.
Which group are you with, Alan? What's
PC
your...
User Group Canberra.
Right, another
ACT.
ACT one. Yeah. So have you considered amalgamating with Michael's club?
We're the same.
We are the same club.
Are you the same? Okay, you've already done that. Good. So are you slowly dying?
Well, I think we are, yes.
So how many members do you have at the moment?
We have in total, I believe, about 400. When I was very active, we had about 3,500.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's still viable with the numbers that you've got, as long as you've got the expertise there and the leadership.
We now have very few activities.
Because it's those that will keep people coming back, isn't it?
Yeah. We do have an online help system, and that probably gets, you know, one or two requests, you know, every couple of weeks, and you know, so there's still that help system going on.
Good.
Yeah. But not very active, I have to say. And yeah, I think Helen's right. I mean, we actually run at a surplus now. We've closed down our rented premises, so we don't have a room anymore. We went from an office and training room to a shared place with U3A, and then they kicked us out, and we rented a training room in our old building with you know, a network of computers, but that was just draining us of money, and I was sort of the only really active trainer at that stage. And when I absconded north of the border, the training room was just a money sink. So they've closed that, and so we're actually in surplus as funds go. But as I said, we're losing a percentage of members month by month, and no real volunteers to take over. We're trying to work through APCUG, the umbrella group internationally. They've got a number of resources, but we haven't really successfully tapped into that yet. But that's sort of hopeful, but yeah.
So you didn't manage to get any members from U3A either? Is that what you're telling me?
We have a number of common members. A number of our members are quite active in working in U3A. But when I used to lead a course called Absolute Beginners Computing, and we contracted with Australian National Seniors Association to run a series of courses for them, and they had a grant for that, and we included in that PCUG membership for a year. Very few, I think less than 5% of them renewed their membership, which I guess is how much they use the membership. And I think that's the trick, is to, what is it that we can offer people that's enticing?
Well, certainly astrophotography might be a topic that you could start. Yeah, that would be fascinating, I would think. Bringing in younger members, I think not any of the groups that I've heard of have managed to bring in younger people. I think we are seniors computer clubs, and that has to remain our focus. Ralph, did you want to say something?
Just a question, please.
Now, your club name first, Ralph.
It's Computer Hills. That's in Castle Hill in Sydney.
Yes.
Michael, what's your annual fee for your members?
Now, that's a good question. I think it's about $25. I actually pay a household membership every 2 years, which I've done for years. I think that works out when I pay it. I think it's about $40 for the household.
Right. Thank you.
Why did you ask that, Ralph? What was the purpose behind your question?
Well, we recently put our fees up in our club. It's now $50, and that's and of course you pay for the manuals and things when you do a course. But I'm trying to find out what is it that is causing people to not renew. And I understand there are some clubs who also charge $50, and they're going gangbusters. I think you know some of those, Susan, in Melbourne,
Yes.
Offshore in Sydney.
Well, Awesome charges 80 per annum, but there's nothing extra on top of that. You get everything almost for that.
Yeah, well, at any event, I'm trying to establish what things are causing people not to renew. One of the things that we've recently started to do, and it's taken a while to get some momentum, is to increase our awareness, like advertising, in any kind of community newspaper who will talk to us. We're letting them know just a very simple message, you know, like what we're about, and we're here to help, and let's help seniors have a little bit more fun.
And has that had any repercussions at the moment?
Oh yes, we're getting increasing inquiries and increasing membership.
Excellent. So what's your membership at the moment?
Well, it's still about 205, but we've
Yeah. Okay.
and more to be processed right at this minute.
Mhm.
But it's nowhere near 400, like Alan was saying.
Mm.
I think we need to be near 400 or 450 to be relatively financially viable in places where you have to pay, like Michael was saying, these rents on the community buildings. I mean, the building themselves, they're substantial assets, and the community must want some kind of coverage of the costs. But a not-for-profit organisation like Computer Pals, really, it's a big struggle to meet their monthly rents and the various other costs in like insurance, personal liability. Like these things are quite a deal of money. Paid one
Yes.
out the other day. I was $1,120 for a personal liability for the club, so that anything we say can't be taken and used against us.
Ah, right. Yes.
Yeah.
But Michael, you want to comment
yeah.
on that?
Yeah, I just checked. Our individual membership is $30 and $25 for concession. We just accept that people will be honest that they're over on a seniors card or any other concession card. They just pay the concession rate, and 40 for households, it's $45 or $40 concession rate. So
But then there are
that's
other
an
things
annual subscription.
and then there's other things that they buy as they go along. Is that correct?
Well, we used to charge for training. So like the ABC was a 6-week course for which we charged $30.
What's an ABC course?
Absolute beginners computing.
Okay.
And that was sort of a typical sort of charge and course length.
And what did you cover? What devices did you cover during that course?
That was done on Windows machines. I think we did cope with a couple of people with Apple machines, but basically we were teaching them the principles of computing. So it really worked on any machine. The network computers in the training room were Windows, and it was Windows 10, and that was the biggest effort in keeping the course notes up to date with any changes to screenshots and that sort of thing.
And how many people registered for that course?
We could do 12 at a time. We had 12 workstations plus an instructor's workstation in our training room. So we could do 12. We had, I used to have no trouble. I had to do a bit of work at it, but I had no trouble in getting volunteers. So we had one volunteer helper per two, like each desk had 2 workstations on it, and one volunteer would work with those 2 workstations to make sure people were keeping up and following on what they had to do. It was very much an interactive mode of training that I did.
And this is all face to face?
Yes, that was all face to face.
Yeah. My club,
but that's all stopped, as I said, once I moved. Abandoned ship and went north of the border.
Sad.
Yeah.
We're finding in my club in Melbourne that the face-to-face is not working well. People have got so used to Zoom that it's just so much easier to stay at home and use your own devices and join in.
Yeah, I did do some training in Blackboard for that online training, but never really, I never put in enough time to develop it properly, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe that's what we need, is something like that. But
You just need more than 24 hours in a day, right?
Yeah, that would help. Have you got any
Yeah.
ideas where you do that?
Not really. Jeanette, you haven't had an opportunity to join in this conversation so far. Is there something that you can put in that might help other people?
Can I just chuck in something I've been talking with you previously about? The Hills Club has been predominantly Microsoft. However, we have just this very week conducted our first Apple course. And for those Apple people out there, it's nice to know that we do have some recognition that the world doesn't just orbit around Microsoft.
Goodbye, Shayne. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciated your help today.
No worries. Thanks for having us, guys.
I'm sure people have gathered a lot of information that's given them an incentive to use that 25th hour in the day. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Goodbye. Bye. Bye. Sorry, Ralph. That was an interruption.
That's not a problem. It wasn't relevant.
How did that go for you?
Very well. It was very well received and noted from all the diehards in our club. There is other kind of life outside of Microsoft.
Oh, you are cheeky. Just for a last word, Jeanette, please. No, want to move to someone else while you sort it? That's fine. Sandra and Barry.
Okay, can I just make a suggestion along the lines for everyone who's doing computers? The thing that we've found since we had to give up the club room and become more mobile is that there are so many people out there that don't know how to use their phones and tablets. And you've got a wealth of seniors out there who have no idea, those that only use them for the phones for phone calls and don't even know how to put them on speaker. And when they're on speaker and someone wants them to go to somewhere else, to go to some other app or something, they can't do it. And so there's lots and lots of help you can give there. And Natika's been putting forward the Be Connected. That's been our saviour. It really has. And I'd urge you to have a go at applying for grants. Even just to start with, use the Be Connected eSafety website to see what's there and have a look, because it's great. They've got a whole lot on iPhones and iPads and a whole lot on Android phones and tablets, and we use it a lot. And we're overrun on Monday mornings at a local club called the Lambton Bowling Club in Lambton Park here in Newcastle. And then we go to 2 libraries, one on Tuesday morning and one on Wednesday afternoon. So it's not always us, but, you know, our tutors, they go around and do that. So we've become quite mobile. We don't even have a storage shed anymore. We got rid of all that stuff. Our storage is a metal lockable cupboard on one of our committee members' verandas, and the rest of the stuff is on a spreadsheet as to where it goes, and we're very good about saying where it is and just carry it in on Monday morning or Tuesday, as the case may be. So,
well, we know you two are so well organised. Computer panels in
the back. The mess up the back says we're not organised.
It's interesting that you know, from the point of view of the way we present our meetings, and using the criteria that the latest hand-me-downs from Be Connected and through them the Australian government, what they require. Our format of a morning or the afternoon at Hamilton is that we spend the first hour of our hour and a half with a presentation on a particular topic, and whether or not they like it or not, that's what they do. And then the last half an hour, we say, righto, you use Be Connected to work on the topic that's of your particular interest.
With our help.
With our help.
With our
Yeah.
help, yeah.
Taking the Lambton Bowling Club, for example, it's a big club. Club patrons, there might be half a dozen at the most. We've got the whole club to ourselves, and there's a big room. And so we're able to faction off our learners into people who've got laptops, people who've got Macs, people who have their iPads, and people have got their Apples and their Androids. So that we split them up so that those particular groups are being mentored by people who've got the necessary understanding on how the systems work. And for those people who need extra help beyond what is available to them in Be Connected, they're the ones that we then suggest to them that they join the club. Now, our total numbers are way down on what you guys have got. We've just gone up to 147. That was an increase of about 6, I think, from the previous month. But they're all fairly active members. And we now are offering in the afternoons at on the Monday assistance classes. We started off calling them individual assistants, but we couldn't mount enough mentors to be able to do it on an individual basis because we were being overwhelmed by the number of people that wanted extra assistance doing something. So I've taken the individual out of it now on the last round of the emails that I sent out to people at the last 5 weeks of this term. And it's just an assistance class, and I've explained that we may group them so that if there are 3 or 4 people who want to do something about photography, they'll work together. If they're wanting to do something about their laptops, they'll go and do that together, and so on.
But the other thing is they must tell us what they want to do in advance, yes, so that we can all be prepared.
When they register, they tell us what they want to learn about. So that helps us as far as grouping them together. And it also helps us if we need to do any research and so forth, so that we can give them a reasonable sort of input from our mentors to what their problems are.
Yep.
And that's working quite well. We can't do that at the libraries because we only have an hour and a half in the morning at Wallsend and an hour and a half at the Hamilton Library in the afternoon on a Wednesday.
So that's just Be Connected.
So that's just Be Connected. We do them.
Works really well.
We've got a couple of guest speakers lined up from Service New South Wales on one and the MyGov people coming in, because we're on those particular times with the targeted subject that we're running in the first hour. When we've got the guy from MyGov, he'll run that particular session and we'll call that Be Connected.
He's doing the new MyGov app.
He's doing the new MyGov app, yeah. So we're trying to be good people and follow the guidelines that Be Connected have out there. And then for people who need the extra, they've got to be club members, and our membership fee is $25. It was with a $5 joining fee. We just recently decided that was a disincentive, so we've dropped that. At this time of the year, we only charge them $15. It'll take them through to the end of June.
Yeah.
And then for the assistance classes, it's $5 for an hour and a half. It's not going to break the bank. No, but that extra money coming in there is what pays our insurances and all the stationery and all that sort of stuff that we've got to pay for. And
we don't have to pay for going to the club.
No, it's all rent, all free. We
just encourage the people to be members of the club. They get a discount on their coffee, and if they have cake or whatever, they get a discount.
We've had quite a few people who have come in and done their Be Connected topics and so on, and then they've wanted extra. So they've been the ones that have joined the club and paid the extra for what they want to get.
Yeah, good.
So that's a way of getting membership. That's what we're trying to impart to you. It's a way of.
You've got to show that value, haven't you?
Yeah.
I must move to Michael. You have a closing thought there, Michael?
Yeah, I thought that you were answering my question, but I'm not sure. When you said you went to the bowling club, the question is, how do you get your message out and attract the people to come along? I think that's been our main problem of the last few years, where we're just simply not reaching the people who, could benefit.
Who need you? Yes,
How
Sandra.
we do it? Go to your local radio station. Be prepared to talk. Be prepared for them to say what time you want to be on there. They want you on there. They might ring you up when you're driving in the car. Who knows? And then local newspaper. We have the Newcastle Weekly, which became defunct, and now is the Newcastle Weekly, which comes out monthly. Well, we haven't bothered with that one because they put their prices up. We found another little one called The Local, which goes to a whole swag of suburbs surrounding the Lambton Bowling Club. It's just a nice little one that seniors rather like. So we took out a half-page ad in that. It costs, okay.
But we factor that into the grant application.
Yeah,
with
for Be Connected. Yeah. And Facebook, do a Facebook promotion. Don't shake your head and say, I don't know how to do it, anybody.
No, this is
someone else to help you.
This is really valuable to know.
Yeah, do that. And printed brochures. Have we got one in my hand? We print out on an A4 sheet, three strips, so they fit in those little brochure type plastic things. So we've got a front and a back. Hang on. The front and the back. So we've got our little logo, photos of our people, and some other stuff on the back. And then we've got the Be Connected ones that are out and about, and we put on the back our details, which requires me to use double-sided sticky tape and stick the piece of paper on, but no, well, in front of Terry,
I've just come back from a couple of weeks in Bali, which was terribly hard to put up with. But while we were away, we had a couple of our members attend the Newcastle Seniors Expo. And we got 6 people walked in the following Monday. From that.
And more are coming.
More are coming.
Yeah. So those are the sort of things. If you have a seniors expo, your local member has an expo. Our local member here, Pat Conroy, he used to have an expo at the
different places.
Yes, a club. But he had to give that up during COVID. He hasn't picked it up again. But they were always good value because you could go and set up a table and put your stuff out and have a talk to people.
All good ideas, and we'll certainly.
Sounds to me like you're when we had Bill Gates out here many, many years ago, I think the late 80s, you're what he would call the evangelist. What's your succession plan? Because you guys sound terribly busy to me. Who's going to look after it when you go?
We're going to process that at our next meeting, and that's the April one. And because of Good Friday, it's a different date. So please pay attention, and we'd love to see your book for that. And Michael, remember that question, because there'll be time for you to put that at our next get together. Thank you all so much for taking your valuable time to be with us this afternoon. And don't forget to tell your friends to come to the forum, because it is worthwhile to find out what other clubs are doing, how they're working, and what works for them might work for you. This is all good. Thank you so much. Natika, you've been...
Yeah, I just wanted to, there's a new function on here. When you move your hands, things
doesn't work for me.
Automatically, mine just jumps up and down. It's really frustrating. Anyway, yeah, I don't know either, Sandra, but anyway. So yes, Thursday the 6th of April is our next clubs forum, due to Good Friday being on the first Friday of April. I am working on connecting with a colleague of Dr. Scott Hollier, who's one of our ASCCA directors. Her name is Colleen. I haven't locked her in for the time yet, but she is on the digital access help desk for the Centre for Accessibility that Scott's in charge of. So that'll be sure to be a great one. But I'm just interested, was today's talk something that you're interested in? I know we had lots of great feedback from Brett. So I'm just interested, is that the right track that we're going, finding?
He was very interesting.
That photography was amazing.
I know, he was blown away with on the phone.
Makes me want to get up in the middle of the night. No, don't.
So if anyone's got insomnia, that might be a new hobby.
Yeah, no, that was interesting, the photography. Yeah.
Ralph, are you dying to say something, Ralph?
I question, please. Sorry, not a question, just a comment. We're celebrating 25 years next meeting, next Wednesday. And I think we have notified ASCCA. I wasn't absolutely sure, but I just wanted you to take it on board. Thank you.
Thanks, Ralph.
Yes,
What would you
I've
like
been talking with Renee.
ASCCA to do?
I've organised something with Renee, Susan.
Right. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll see you on the Thursday before Good Friday.
Everyone needs to put their bunny ears on that day, okay?
Oh, no.
Just saying. Have an Easter egg background. All right. Thanks, everyone.
All the best,
Okay,
everyone.
thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.